Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into a really powerful framework for dealing with despair, and it comes from a Judaic perspective. It's built on a pretty counterintuitive idea that the way out of our deepest, most internal struggles might actually start with the things we do on the outside. The source material for this explainer doesn't pull any punches. It opens with this incredibly direct and honestly stark line. It really sets the tone, showing that we're not shying away from the true depth of this issue. This is serious stuff. So yeah, starting from that very real place, let's talk about the problem this framework is designed to tackle. It's something universal, something deeply human, right? A heavy heart, that feeling of overwhelming sadness. And this isn't just some abstract philosophical discussion. The source material is talking directly to that heavy emotional state of despair. It sees that profound pain as the starting point and wants to offer a very specific path forward, not just to understand the pain, but to actually do something about it. This brings us to the core idea, which I think is fascinating. How do you possibly fight such a powerful internal feeling? Well, the answer proposed here is to use an outside force to change what's going on inside. The main tool here is something called external positive energy. Now, this is an amazing concept because it basically flips our usual approach right on its head. Instead of trying to generate happiness from within when you feel totally empty, this philosophy says you can actually import it from the outside to change your internal world. So the goal, really, is to almost perform a kind of spiritual intervention on yourself. It's about consciously choosing to, you could say, infect your internal world with joy by bringing it in from an outside source. It's a very proactive way of thinking about it. Okay, so how does this actually work in practice? Well, this idea of external energy operates within a really specific framework, one that involves some interesting concepts about suffering and destiny.
So this framework is really built on two connected ideas, which you can see right here. On one side, you have human suffering, which is just accepted as a real, unavoidable part of life. And on the other side, you have this concept of Mazal, which you can think of as a kind of destined or astrological path that influences our lives.
Now let's be super clear about what Mazal means here, because it is absolutely crucial. In this context, it's talking about a sort of predetermined path or destiny. But, and this is the most important part, the belief here is that this path is not set in stone. It can actually be changed. You can alter it. Which, of course, leads us to the biggest question of all. If suffering is real and this destined path exists, how on earth do you go about changing any of it? And here is the mechanism laid out for us. It's basically a three-step process. First, you have to acknowledge the reality of your situation, the suffering and your mazal. Then comes step two, and this is the active ingredient. You perform acts of generosity. The result? Step three. The belief is that these external actions directly influence and can fundamentally change your predetermined path, and in doing so, change your suffering. So let's get even more practical. We're going to shift now from the theory to the specific, tangible things that the source material actually recommends you do. So what do these actions look like? Well, the source points to two concrete things. First, seek the blessing of a genuine Torah scholar. You're basically receiving a gift of positive energy from someone else. The second is to surround yourself with lectures and teachings that give you hope, which is kind of like being generous to your own spirit. See how both are about deliberately putting yourself in the path of that external positivity we talked about? All right, let's bring this all home. What's the big idea we should be taking away from all of this? Let's just boil it down for a final thought on this really unique approach to despair. So it all comes down to this powerful idea. External action leads to internal transformation. This entire philosophy is built on the belief that deliberate, outward actions, like generosity or seeking out wisdom, are the key to creating real, profound change inside your own heart and mind. And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. It really gets to the heart of everything we've talked about and challenges us to look at the link between our actions and our feelings. Can what we do in the world really truly transform how we feel on the inside?